Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this one I got for you is going right back to one of our favorite black cities, Atlanta, Georgia. And there is a lot going on. I talk about cases in Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and of course the state of California. There is a lot of negative energy and there is a lot of chaos that is going on in these cities and in these streets. There's a lot of chaos in Fulton County that's going on in the courtrooms with this Fannie Willis saga and ex-President Donald Trump, that YSL case. There's been a few or several murders that have been taking place in the streets of Atlanta, and there have been issues in their county jails where people have died. There's been over a dozen people that have died in Fulton County Jail in the last year and a half under suspicious circumstances. And now I have one for you where many of our city and county jails are understaffed with correctional officers. That's been a real issue, a safety issue, not only for the employees, but also for the individuals that are incarcerated, the inmates. And now I have a case for you where not only is Fulton County understaffed with correctional officers, they are not paying them. A third-party vendor has not gotten paid for the work of these outside correctional officers that were hired to help out with the Fulton County Jail, and they have therefore left over 70 correctional officers. You talking about a public safety issue at its premium. They're not paying the correctional officers. These people are putting their lives on the line each and every day. They are underpaid, and now they're getting no pay. So let's get into this, which will make Fulton County Jail a disaster. What is going on in Atlanta? And remember, Atlanta for black middle class is the utopian city in America. But there is a lot of craziness that's going on, and this city could fall apart at any moment. Contract security officers leave jail in Atlanta after non-payment of contract. Some security officers at a jail in Atlanta that is under federal investigation walked off the job after the Fulton County Sheriff's Office failed to pay money to a third-party contractor that employs them. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office said in a news release that it is facing a significant budget crisis. Now remember, the city of Chicago has a $1 billion budget crisis under Brandon Johnson. Look at the similarities in these major cities. It says that the Fulton County Sheriff's Office said in a news conference that it is facing a significant budget crisis and owed an outstanding balance, sit down, of more than $1 million to Strategic Security Corp. $1 million. The company notified its employees that the contract had ended, that they would be clocked out at 2:15 p.m. and that they should not report to work at the jail going forward. Now, this was about a couple of months ago. The sheriff's office said that created an immediate safety issue at the county's main jail, and employees from all divisions were sent to staff the jail. There were 17 contract officers working at the time, 13 in the main jail in Atlanta and 4 at the South Annex in Union City. Sheriff's Office spokesperson Natalie Ammon said, "There are 3 shifts in a 24-hour period, and there were a total of 74 contracted workers on rotation to cover all the shifts, she said. Joe Sorty, CEO of Strategic Security Corp., told reporters that his employees were hired to do jobs that did not involve direct contact with people housed in the jail. From the start of the contract in July 2023, the sheriff's office immediately fell behind on payment and never fully paid what it owed in any single billing cycle. It goes on to say, under the terms of the contract, the company could have suspended services once the sheriff's office defaulted on 2 billing cycles, Sorty said. But they didn't do that because of a moral obligation to the officers and to the sheriff's deputies working in the jail. Instead, he said, they continued to pay their employees and tried to engage the sheriff's office, which kept making small payments to keep us at bay, but never paid the entire principal due. The sheriff's office has been severely delinquent since February of this year, and Sheriff Pat Labat kept making excuses for why the money hadn't been paid, Sorty said. The CEO said he kept extending deadlines, but gave the sheriff a final date he gave him a final date recently to provide an answer about whether he could come up with the money. It goes on to say that Sorty said that on Thursday was the first time in several months that the sheriff returned his phone calls. So the sheriff had been evading CEO Sorty. We spoke, and his answer was that we simply just don't have the money, Sorty said. Sorty said his company is actively pursuing formal measures to re-engage Fulton County if the sheriff's office wants to continue services. But he also said he is exploring any method possible to secure payment of the money owed. This is the sheriff's department of the Fulton County Jail that's $1 million in debt and not paying these security guards, up to 74 of them, that are trying to help them out in making sure that there is sound public safety at this jail. Board of Commissioners Chairman Rob Pitts released a statement saying that the sheriff's office signed a contract to provide staffing for watchtowers within the jail without the involvement of the county purchasing department. He said the commissioners approved funding as part of the fiscal year of 2024 budget, allocating $1.3 million based on the contract usage at the time and with input from the sheriff's office. It wasn't until this month that the sheriff's office notified county management that it had already spent more than $1 million over the budgeted amount. $1 million over, Pitt said. Funding for the sheriff's office and the jail has increased by 66% since 2019, but the sheriff has consistently failed to demonstrate basic budget management practices, Pitt said. The public has every right to be concerned about these issues, Pitt said. The Board of Commissioners plans to discuss the matter at its meeting next week. Labat said that nearly 50, this is the sheriff, Labat said that nearly 50 of the contracted security officers came to the jail Thursday evening and were given conditional offers of employment, and some were able to work immediately after completing paperwork. Sorty said Labat's efforts to hire his employees and the failure to pay from the start showed that the agreement was entered in bad faith. The Associated Press has asked Labat's office for comments on Sorty's remarks. Now listen to this. The U.S. Department of Justice last year opened a civil rights investigation into jail conditions in the county, citing violence and filthy conditions. Federal authorities specifically mentioned the September 2022 death of LaShawn Thompson. I did a story on this before in one of my videos. One of more than a dozen people who have died in county custody over the last 2 years. I said that at the beginning of this video. There is all kinds of craziness going on in the Fulton County Jail. And now they're not even paying their security guards. Thompson, 35, died in a bed bug infested cell in the jail's psychiatric wing. A state legislative committee formed last year to examine conditions at the jail concluded last week that more cooperation was needed between top county officials. Sheriff Labatt has long acknowledged the problems and has called for a new $1.7 billion jail to replace the crumbling main jail on Rice Street. How in the world could this sheriff ask for a $1.7 billion new jail and they can't even pay a $1 million payroll? He wants $1.7 billion. I mean, we're just printing money incessantly. The federal government, state government is just, it doesn't even have a value. But they can't pay the 74 contracted security guards that are there to maintain safety and security at the Fulton County Jail. They're $1 million behind, but they want to build a $1.7 billion new jail. Do these individuals, does Labatt not know how to add or subtract? But county commissioners in July voted 4-3 instead for a $300 million project to renovate the existing jail and to build a new building to house inmates with special needs. Now, you just heard those two figures. Labatt wants $1.7 billion for a new jail. The committee comes back and they say that they'd rather spend $300 million renovating the existing jail. That is not addressing the $1 million that is owed to this vendor for sending these officers to help maintain civility in the Fulton County Jail. There is all kind of craziness and hubris that is taking place in Fulton County. This is a major city, Atlanta. All black middle class people want to move there. And this is a telltale sign that your state, city legislators, you have to make them accountable. Today is a date for the national presidential election, but please pay attention to your city and state politics, to who is your county prosecutor, who is your, who's on your state Supreme Court, who are your city councilmen, who are your city aldermen and women. This is abominable, and you've had at least a dozen inmates that have ended up dead. One died in a psychiatric part of the jail with a bed bug infested cell. That tells you that it is absolute unprofessional neglect taking place. And now you won't even pay the employees. So you have abuse allegedly being taken place with the prisoners that are there, and you're having financial abuse, let alone anything else is going on the job, but at least financial abuse of not paying your correctional officers that are there to work and to maintain civility in the jail. Those are the first people you need to pay. Where is all this money going? And then they want to advocate for a brand new budget for a $1.7 billion new prison. And that tells you right there, as a citizen of Atlanta, a $1.7 billion new prison, that's all about increasing arrest and incarceration. So people's civil liberties and their freedoms are going to be at bay because they want to make sure that they keep a brand new $1.7 billion prison jail to full capacity and free labor. Or they said they will want to do a $300 million renovation. That is going to increase arrest, increase incarceration. That is going to put a strain on the legal system, the legislation, and the civilians that live in Atlanta. There's a duality and a dichotomy right there in and of itself. But while we're trying to do new budgets, they can't even pay the existing employees that are working there. And we're talking about the nucleus of the safety and protection of the jail. your correctional officers. They are $1 million behind in paying this vendor for these 74 officers. Tell me what you think is going on in Fulton County. Cook County in Chicago has its issues. Of course, we know the entire city of New York is going through a mess. And of course, the state of California is being decimated each and every day. But this is a very sad situation in Fulton County, and Sheriff Labatt has many questions to answer for this chaos that's going on. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.